Welcome to Rogers That podcast. Your hosts for today's podcast are Jackson, Edgardo, and Lily. Today we have a great opportunity to interview Joe Britton, who is a city councilman in Danbury and a former student at RPMS. Welcome, Mr. Britton. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. Our goal is to help our viewers learn more about potential jobs and careers in our community. We appreciate you joining us.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm really happy to be here. I'm really excited.
Okay. These are background and professional questions. Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from?
Sure. So I was born and raised in Danbury, actually a couple streets down the road from school here. I went to Rogers Park Middle School. Mr. Beddish was my teacher in 6th grade. So I know the school really well. Went to Danbury High School. But I grew up in Danbury, still live here, and my family's still here. I got a couple of siblings. We all went through Rogers Park, except for my brother. He went to West Side. But yeah, big Danbury family.
Okay. Can you describe your job as a councilman?
Okay, so being a councilman is very cool. So do you guys know, like, what they do down in Washington, D.C.? Like Congress, right?
Yeah.
They make the laws and stuff. So that's like big picture, right? So they're the big shots that make the big laws for the country. So what a councilman does is basically similar to that, but at a local level, right? So we work on the local laws with the mayor and other city councilmen to, like, who paves your roads. You guys know what taxes are?
Yes.
Yeah, so who sets your taxes? You know, some people can get grumpy about taxes, but we do all of the local level stuff. So it's similar to what they do down in Washington, D.C., but at a very, very local level.
Okay. What are your inspirations for deciding a career as a councilman?
So I really wanted to, like, get involved in my community, right? So I really loved Danbury. I loved, growing up in Danbury, my family being in Danbury. It was just an opportunity for me to give back and to kind of leave my little, thumbprint on Danbury in some way, so.
Okay. Did you go through training to become a councilman?
So you don't need any training to become a city councilman. What you do need to do is you have to get elected. So you have to campaign, right? So you have to pick, usually you have to pick a political party. So in our country we have two, the Democrats and the Republicans. So I picked the Democrats. And then you have to get endorsed. You're part of it's called a ticket. So it's basically a team, like for sports, but you all run together. And then you have to convince the voters to pick you. And so you don't need any training per se, but you should have some experience. You should be familiar with the position that you're running for and what it is you want to do, because you need to have a plan, right? Because it's a serious commitment, right? Because you're dealing with people's jobs in some cases. You're dealing with money, city's tax dollars. So it's a lot of money. It's a lot of responsibility. So you have to be serious about it, but you don't need any training technically.
Okay. What are your ideas for the future of Danbury?
So I think Danbury has a ton of potential, and like Mr. Beddish mentioned, the mayor was on once, and the mayor has a lot of big plans for Danbury. I would love to see Danbury continue to grow, bring some more businesses to Danbury, because I think we could be the hot spot in Connecticut. We could have a lot of entertainment venues. We can just bring downtown Danbury back up. So I would love to see Danbury grow and expand and, be a little bit more exciting, a lot of potential here.
Okay. What is the hardest decision you made?
Oh, hardest decision I made as a councilman?
Yeah.
I would say every decision is hard. And it's not hard in a bad way, because every decision you make can go one way or the other. It can either go really well or it can go really badly. So I would say probably so far, I don't know if I've had a hardest one that I've made. I don't know if you have the question of what my favorite decision was, but I could kind of pivot and make it what was my favorite decision. I mean, it was hard, but it was my favorite because it took like a little bit of work to do, but we renamed a street in my district. I'm in the 4th district, and we named after the VFW. So the VFW is the Veterans of Foreign Wars. So it's the military veterans organization in my district, and we named the street after them. So that took a lot because you had to write a letter. You had to get support from different councilmen. The mayor had to support it. You had to get a little community involvement. So that was hard. It wasn't the most difficult thing to do, but it wasn't easy to do. So I would say that might have been one of the harder ones I've done.
Does the city council ever argue, and how does the council agree on decisions?
So that is a very funny question because yes, like all politicians argue. There's never an easy way to agree on anything. Why I'm very lucky is we have a very good team. So we have a very good team of councilmen. For the most part, we all get along, both the Republicans and the Democrats. But we do argue because everybody has a right to have a different opinion on certain things, right? You can believe one thing, somebody else can believe another thing. But we do argue, but it's usually everybody argues over what they think is the better decision in making some sort of choice on a policy or a vote. But usually if you're not arguing, you're not doing a good job because that means that people care about that project or that vote. So yeah, we do agree, we do argue.
Do you work with the mayor?
I do. Yep. Mayor Alves is a very good friend of mine. We actually all ran for office together for the first time in 2017. So it was me, Mayor Alves, Farley Santos, who's now a state representative, Frank Salvatore, who's now a city councilman. We all ran together for the first time, really didn't know what we were doing. And now, if you fast forward, a few years, you look at us now, one's a mayor, we got a couple of councilmen, a state rep. So do work with the mayor. He's a great guy. He's done a lot of good things for the city, and he cares a lot about what he's doing. So I'm very lucky that I get to work with him.
How many people are in the council?
So the council has 21 members. So it's pretty big. It's one of the bigger ones in the state, actually.
Do they all do something different?
So everybody does something different because everybody comes in with like a different kind of idea of what they want to do for Danbury or like their different policies or whatever it is they believe in. So we all technically have the same job because we all have one vote. So nobody's vote is more valuable than the other person. Yeah. So there's a lot of us, but everybody believes in something different, but generally speaking, we all believe in wanting to like make Danbury better,
Okay. How often do the councilmen meet?
So usually, at a minimum, we meet once a month. So we have one regular meeting a month, it's called. But now we're entering what's called budget season. So the mayor's going to propose his budget next Tuesday, and we're going to meet a lot more frequently. So we'll probably meet next month, up to 10 times total, because we'll have different committee meetings and that sort of thing. So at a minimum, we meet once a month, but during busy season, we could meet upwards of 5 to 10 times in a
Do
month.
you still have to go into the building every day or just during meetings?
So just during meetings. So for me, I actually have the councilmen are all volunteers. So it's not like a full-time job. So a lot of us have day jobs. For example, my day job, I'm an attorney for Waterbury Public Schools. Yeah. So I work for a school district. And then the meetings are at night, a couple times a month when we have them. So sometimes I'm at City Hall often, sometimes not so often. All depends on the time of the year.
What have you done for Danbury already?
What have I done for Danbury already? So proudest thing, everybody loves this. They love when you get their roads paved, because if you're ever driving in the car with mom or dad, you hit a pothole, you go bump. Everybody hates that.
That's my road right now.
Oh yeah. So I'll tell me the street and I'll tell the mayor to get on that. So I would say the big thing is like just making sure your constituents have an ear, because a big thing is, when you're a councilman, you're supposed to be the representative of your constituents, of the people in your district, right? So being able to sort of pass on messages, sometimes they're complaints, sometimes they're compliments, right? So being able to do that, I think, is a big deal, because there are some that are better, some council people that are better at it in history and, in time, some that are, really not so good at it. But I would just say, like, helping pave the roads and being part of Mayor Alves' sort of mission to make Danbury a really, really nice place, mm-hmm. I think is what I'm most proud of, is being on the team and helping him kind of accomplish that mission.
What is your work schedule?
So my work schedule? Okay, so this is like for my attorney job, I'm guessing?
Yeah,
like that one?
Yeah.
Councilman job? Okay. So I guess the work schedule, so it kind of varies. So when I'm not being a councilman, like I told you guys, I'm an attorney, and it's a lot of work because I'm doing a lot of different things for the school district. So every day is something different. The big thing is, when the kids get in trouble, I do the expulsion hearings, which is not super fun, but they need help doing it, right? When, the school district has other issues that are other legal issues like, like hiring teachers and that kind of thing, I assist in that. The superintendent, I work with him, Dr. Schwartz in Waterbury, on a lot of different issues. It's just different. It's a totally, every day is different. It's a bunch of legal work. It sounds super boring, but I like it because I'm a nerd. So nerds like super boring things, but it is a good job. I like it.
What is your biggest challenge of your job?
So the biggest challenge of my job has to be that sometimes whenever you're dealing with the law, right, most of the time you never get a straight answer. So if you're looking for a direct answer to a question or you're dealing with some sort of problem, it's never as easy like 1 + 1 = 2. It's always like 1 + 1 might equal 2, but it might also equal 3. I know that doesn't make any sense, but like that's like kind of dealing with the law is like you might get more than one answer to a problem that you're looking at, right? So that's a challenge because sometimes it's frustrating when you're going into a problem and you're trying to figure it out and you don't get the answer you're looking for, and it takes time. So it's challenging, but it kind of makes it a little bit fun,
Okay. What is the most rewarding part of your job?
In Waterbury, so I'll give you two answers. I'll give you my most rewarding part of my job during the day and the most rewarding part of my job being a city councilman. So in Waterbury, when I'm working as the lawyer for the schools, the most rewarding thing is being able to work with kids. Because occasionally I do get to go in the schools, work with the teachers on certain projects for the schools, and be part of like the big picture team ideas for the district. So I love the fact that my job has some sort of impact on students and kids. So that's awesome. For the city councilman job, I love that I can just be part of my community and represent my neighbors. I think that's just an awesome responsibility and an honor because, my family was from this area for a very long time. We had business ties in the community. We owned a pizza shop down the street for a long time. And just being able to represent part of the city that I grew up in is really cool. It's really cool, and I find a lot of value and honor in doing that. So.
Okay, now we're moving into part 3, which is middle school.
Sure.
What was middle school like for you, and what are your favorite middle school memories?
Oh gosh, middle school for me. We're going back. This is crazy. We're going back a while now, but middle school was definitely, the school looked a lot different than it does now. They've done a good job. It's much nicer now. So you guys are really spoiled with how nice everything looks. But for me, middle school was kind of weird, right? Because it's like you leave elementary school and then you go into middle school and you don't really know like what you're doing. At least that's how I felt. Like when I went into 6th grade, I was like, oh my God, like this school is so big. I was like, a lot of my friends went to Broadview, so I was like one of the few that went to Rogers Park. So I was like, I don't know anybody. So it was definitely a little strange at first, but then you realize like, wow, it's like kind of cool because you're transitioning, you're going to different periods, different classes. You don't have the same class like you do in elementary school all the time.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. You kind of grew up a little bit. You had a little bit more responsibility, but.
Yeah, for probably like all of us, like we were so used to like just staying in class. Then I remember like when the first weeks, like we were all late, like to every single class.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
All the stairwells looked like exactly the same. You think you're going to the music hallway, you go down, you're like by the gym, and you're on you're at the opposite side.
That's why I almost thought they should have made a map or something, just so you could see where you're going.
That's what I said.
Right? I still think they should, but yeah, it was definitely a little different,
Yeah, but
I
I
got
like
a
it.
question.
Yeah.
When you went to 6th grade and you went here, did they have schedules for you to look at your classes?
Yeah, I think we had printed out schedules. Yeah.
Yeah, they gave us that.
Yeah.
I think we had that. But again, like, I had no idea where I was going. Like, what actually they suggested you do is they I don't know if they still did this now, but they like opened the school on the weekend, like the week
yeah.
before.
Oh, yeah.
So you could go in.
Kind of like open
And check it
house,
out, right?
Yeah,
they
so
do,
you can
like, a
walk around.
tour.
Yeah, and you could see your schedule and see, so that way you didn't get lost on the first day. Of course, I don't think I did it, but I think I might have went once, which I probably should have did it a couple of times, so I didn't look silly when I was in school. But
Did you use lockers when you were in middle school?
we did, yeah. That was like the one time I actually ever used my locker, because in high school I never really used it, because you guys will see it when you get there, but Danbury High School is just so big. So sometimes going to your locker in one half of the school and going to the other, doesn't make a lot of sense because you don't have time. But I did use my middle school locker. That I definitely did. But I remember just stuffing a bunch of stuff in it, and it was chaos.
My dad went here too, so like when we came to like the tour, he's like, "This is right here, this right here, this right here." Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. It's like, can you say it again?
I don't think I want to get that. He's like, "The school is one big square."
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was my favorite. But my favorite memory of Rogers Park were probably all of the. I'm trying to think of like the best one. We did a lot of field trips, which were pretty fun.
We haven't done any field trips yet.
No field trips yet?
Field trips yet.
I gotta
Wait
talk to
until
Mr.
the end of the
Beddish.
year.
I gotta talk to Mr. Beddish. They were. I will say, when I went here, they were all at the end of the year too.
Yeah, so that's probably what it is.
Yeah, because it gets warmer out. People are happier. And you go on a bunch of ones. But yeah, that was probably my favorite memories. And I also really liked. I don't know if it's still here. I'm sure it is. But there was like it was like the technology shop, the wood shop, where I took it was called Tech Ed at the time. I don't know if it's still called that now. Probably not.
I think it's design modeling.
Yeah, and I remember I got to build like a little rubber band powered car out
that's
of wood, and it was pretty cool, and we raced them, and it was neat. That was one of my favorite memories.
Well, we did that, but like with paper airplanes.
Yes.
With like paper clips and
Mhm.
certain type.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. I liked Rogers Park. It was fun. I liked it here.
When you were in middle school, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Ooh, when I was in middle school. So what's really funny is I went through a phase of wanting to be like 7 different careers.
That's me right now.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, because you're gonna eventually find the right fit. I remember for a while, this is gonna sound really silly, so you can laugh at me if you want, but I wanted to be a weatherman for a little bit, because I just thought predicting the weather was so cool. But that passed, and then I wanted to be a police officer for a little bit. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to do everything under the sun, right? And then I got to college and eventually decided I wanted to be a lawyer. So kind of went all over the place. But in middle school, it was like a mix between being a doctor, a weatherman. It was crazy.
What advice would you give to middle school students today?
Ooh, I would say do your homework and read a lot of books.
Love to read.
Because reading, what are you reading right now?
Percy Jackson.
Nice. Which one?
Yeah.
The first one, reading it in class, and I brought a copy home.
Wonderful. Keep reading. I would say the biggest advice is to just read a lot of books, because you can learn a lot from reading. It helps your spelling, believe it or not, and it just, I think it's going to help you when you go on to college and into getting a job and all that. Read a lot of books, do your homework, but also have fun. Have fun, make good memories with your friends, and enjoy it, because these times they go quick. So enjoy it, but read a ton of books.
Okay, part 4, fun questions.
Okay. What are your favorite hobbies?
Favorite hobbies, love that. Okay, so I love to run. I run a lot. I'm actually training for a half marathon right now. So it's in June. It's going to be out in the state of Montana. So you guys know
Whoa.
Yellowstone National Park?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be out in there. So I'll be running through the park,
That's fun.
which will be awesome. So I like to run. I also played a lot of sports growing up. So I like to play hockey still. I don't play lacrosse so much anymore, but I played that in college.
Do you play soccer?
I can play soccer, but
I
am
love
I
soccer.
am I good at soccer? No.
I play soccer.
Very nice.
Jackson plays baseball.
Baseball, nice.
And you play football.
So we got three different sports, a bunch of different sports at the table
Yeah.
actually. But I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm sorry. I know you're wearing the Yankees hat right now, but it's okay. My heart breaks every year as a Red Sox fan. I think the mayor's a Yankees fan though, so he would like that hat. But
Okay.
yeah, those are my big hobbies, and I also like to read too when I can.
What are your favorite place to visit in Danbury?
Oh, Danbury's got so many great places to visit. I would say my personal favorite place, and this was just because I did I spent a lot of time there, during school, and it's a great place. I run through there occasionally, but Terrywell Park. I like going through there. It's good
That's
trails.
a cool trail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
very,
is.
very, very cool trails. So going through there is fun. So I would say if I were to have a favorite place in Danbury to like spend some time, it would be over by Terrywell.
Okay. Favorite place to go to vacation?
Oh, awesome question. So love the summer. Love the summer. I would say my family, we do a trip to Rhode Island every year. So the beaches in Rhode Island is probably my favorite place to vacation. But if I were to have a dream place to vacation, I would like to just go sit on a beach somewhere in like some Pacific island in the middle of nowhere. Like I think that would be fantastic. But
And the water's like actually blue.
actually blue, yep, and you got the white sand. It would be awesome. But
Okay. Favorite sport?
favorite sport, it's got to be hockey. Love ice hockey.
Hockey's fun.
Yep, it's fun. Do you guys go to the Hat Tricks games ever?
Yeah.
I went
when
to a couple.
when the school
Yeah, I
gives
went
us
to-
free tickets, I'm just
Yeah.
like, yay.
Love that. The next time they give you free tickets, give me one. Just make sure hey, give an extra one for Councilman Britton. And,
Okay.
But yeah, hockey's my favorite. Not a lot of people like hockey though, which is always made me sad. But
It's
trying.
a fun sport.
It is a very fun sport.
But
I
a
like-
physical sport.
It is.
I like to go
Yeah.
there and just watch people like
Push each other.
fall pushing.
Just bash into the boards, right?
The big log sticks going.
Yep. It is fun. I like it.
Okay. This or that? Dine in or dine out?
Ooh, dine in or dine out? Ooh, okay. So I love getting like a nice pizza to like take out, but if I were to, I love dining in. I like going to the restaurant.
Dunkin' or Starbucks?
Oh, I feel like this one's gonna get me in trouble. That's a controversial question. I think I gotta go Starbucks. Gotta go Starbucks.
Are you a morning or a night person?
Morning or night person? I think it depends, but like I would say definitely more of a morning person than a night person. I fall asleep pretty easily.
McDonald's or Chick-fil-A?
Gotta be McDonald's. Nice Big
this-
Mac from McDonald's.
This question would stump me for like a year.
Yep.
Orange juice or apple juice?
Orange juice or apple juice? That is gonna stump me too. I can't. Orange juice, it depends on the time of the day because you can't have orange juice right after you brush your teeth because then it
tastes
just
really bad.
tastes really bad. So I would say the safe pick would probably be apple juice.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Depends on what it's for. So are we
Say
talking
ice
like
cream. Let's say ice cream.
ice cream? Oh, vanilla. Vanilla ice cream. All the way. All the way.
Finally, what advice would you give to a middle school student who is interested in getting involved in the local government in the future?
Ooh, I would say keep an open mind and that wants to get involved in local government. I would say keep an open mind and go to as many like local meetings as you can and just watch, because sometimes the best way to learn something is to actually watch it happening. So like for city council meetings, they're open to the public. You can go. Tell mom or dad to drop you off at a council meeting, and you can just listen to how the government operates in Danbury. So I would say if you really want to get involved, start going to meetings and looking at them, and then as you get a little bit more interested and more comfortable, start reaching out to your local officials, right? Like a city councilman, for example, and then that's how I did it. I reached out to my local city councilman to get involved, and then eventually I became a city councilman. So keep an open mind, like go to as many meetings as you can, and don't be and this is the most important thing is don't be afraid to like ask questions, because sometimes when you don't know about something, or you might feel a little embarrassed to ask a question and that you don't know the answer to, but you have to remember that most of the time more people than just you have the same question. So don't be afraid to ask questions. But that would be my big package of advice for local government.
That concludes our discussion with Joe Britton. We truly appreciate you spending time with us today to tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is to be a councilman in Danbury.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another great episode of Rogers That. See you next time. Bye. That was great.
Good job, guys. That was awesome.
Thank you.